We found the labor we've been looking for in the kiddies. It's kiddie labor. It's something fun for them to do after school.
Because child labor laws are very last century, Lee. It's not hip and cool anymore to bar kids from working.
Right. It's because it's discriminatory to stop kids from working.
It is.
They want to.
It's ageist.
They want to shove their arms into the meat thresher just like anybody else.
So the first story that we're bringing to you, go to the next slide. There you go.
That's how high tech we are. Instead of pushing a little button on a remote, I'm the remote. She just pokes me in the eye.
The first story comes to you from the Golden Arches. Child labor violations involving 388 minors at McDonald's uncovered since May.
And these are minors as in underage, not they're doing mining for McDonald's. They're not mining the beef.
No.
Okay.
What do we call that, mining? Okay. So the first line of this article too, I really like because it starts off by saying federal officials found more child labor violation at McDonald's. And I'm like, wait, more? What? How many were there before?
Including 2 10-year-olds.
Oh, wait, yes.
Who that runs a McDonald's is like, I'm sure we'll have no problem getting away with this.
But wait, it gets better.
But they had on fake mustaches.
Because the 10-year-olds were not paid. So it's not just child labor, it's child slavery. Because when somebody has to work and is not paid, we call that slavery.
How did they just find them walking by the place and they're like, you in here? Like, how does that end up happening?
It does not get into detail as to exactly how the fuck they ended up laboring. But it involved ages 14 and 15 predominantly, and some being forced to work as late as 2 a.m. cleaning up.
Because if you're gonna have children working, do it in the middle of the night.
And then 3 employees under 16 were tasked with operating a deep fryer, which is prohibited under federal law because it's fucking dangerous.
So if any of you tasted a finger in your McNuggets,
that's a 16-year-old's finger, by the way. I'm just saying.
Well, that does mean to be a smaller finger in the McNuggets, so that's good.
That's not true. I have small hands, and I'm in my 30s. There are some 16-year-olds that have way bigger hands than me. So that's not necessarily true.
I was trying to look on the bright side here. If at least you'd be eating a tiny finger and you're ruining it.
Also operating a trash compactor. According to the Labor Department, these were the kids around the ages of 14 and 15 that were told to do this. And again,
side changes.
Sure.
What about this one? Oh,
that's the yeah.
You forgot to poke me in the eye.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was the 10-year-olds. Okay, this gets better. 2 10-year-olds were found working without pay at a McDonald's in Louisville. That's called slavery. Where they prepared and served meals, worked the drive-thru, and sometimes worked as late as 2 a.m. 10-year-olds
worked the drive-thru. Weren't there occasionally someone in a car?
What I'm fucking thinking over here. I'm like, granted, I don't fucking go to McDonald's because it's fucking disgusting, but if I saw a 10-year-old working in a drive-thru, I'd be like, excuse me, I need to talk to a manager immediately. And don't give me this bullshit like some 10-year-olds look like they're older, because tops, they look like they're 13. So what the fuck? That's still not cool.
Maybe they had a fake mustache on. Fake unibrow?
Hey, well, when I was 10, I had a unibrow. 10-year-olds can have unibrows, Lee. So yeah, that's McDonald's. So, and yes, somebody brought up a good point in the chat there that, let me open this again. Where is that? So, child labor laws in the United States are pretty fucking archaic to begin with, because they state that 14 and 15-year-olds can work, 15-year-olds can work, quote, no more than 3 hours on a school day and no more than 8 hours on a school day.
On a non-school day.
On a non-school day, which is already fucked up I'd like to say.
Right.
Because if you force kids to go to school and then at 14, they can start working legally for 3 hours on that same day that they have to sit in school and learn bullshit like the Native Americans just decided to leave their land, that's fucked up.
What if their homework is to spray a cheese-like substance onto patties of some sort made out of cow anus? What if that's their homework? Then is it okay?
But this is the problem with our schools in this country too, because I bet you that one of these kids probably like wrote some essay or some shit about how they work at McDonald's and the teacher was like, "Oh, isn't that nice?" as opposed to, "I'm sorry, what the fuck?" So, yes, child labor laws in this country are already shitty, and they're becoming more shitty because they continue to be basically destroyed so that kids can work younger and younger ages.
So this next article is that a 15-year-old was doing roofing?
Yeah. So, a Florida, I know that's shocking. A Florida home repair company has been cited for child labor and safety violations after a 15-year-old worker suffered severe injuries in a fall from a roof.
Yeah, because why not have them do the most dangerous job?
They point out that the problem really here is that they failed to install, quote, a guardrail, safety net, or personal fall arrest system for employees doing roofing work. Okay, that might be a problem, but isn't the bigger problem that you had a fucking 15-year-old doing roofing?
One might say.
I have another one for y'all. A hotel in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which, by the way, is the best name for a town ever, employed...
What did the Pigeons forge, though? Did they build something?
Obviously not a very safe town for kids. A hotel in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee employed 2 children under the age of 12, the Department of Labor found. The Comfort Inn Hotel is also known for paying people below minimum wage. That's shocking. So basically, they had also employed a 15-year-old to work in the kitchen, which was not allowed for their age group. Again, should not be allowed for them to work at all. But and it doesn't say what exactly these 12-year-olds were doing, but yeah, these are just some stories that I was able to find that are very recent.
I know these are just like a few of the like. Let's see, type in child labor into Google and see what comes up in the news.
Well, right, and I mean, I'm sure people could probably mention some in the chat that they've seen as well, but these are just some examples. And my other question here is a question about worker solidarity. Now, I get that a lot of these places are oppressive places to work, and you're afraid if you say anything, you might be fired. And this is maybe why we know about them, but call the Department of Labor anonymously and be like, there are fucking kids working here, and that's not okay. The other thing that I want to point out is that none of these articles are, of course, mentioning is like, why is this even a thing? Well, probably because the parents can't make ends meet. And so kids are being asked, or, in some cases forced to work. This is something that I've heard of personally from people in North Carolina where I used to live. They were like, yeah, well, I have to start working because we can't make rent, or my parents can't do, like, this is because wages for adults are so fucking horrific that people are being forced to work at younger and younger ages.
Well, not only wages for adults, but just the way the American system tears people apart, sucking money out of them at every turn. And sometimes it could be medical expenses, just like destroying savings, causing people to worry they're going to lose their apartment or lose their house. And so they become desperate. But all of this goes, the reason these stories are increasing in frequency is because this is the gravity of capitalism. It is to slowly deteriorate, erode worker protections that were fought for over many years. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. You know, they lower the age, they make it, they destroy the unions, they destroy the maximum number of hours. They just slowly gutting all of the protections that had been won, hard fought over years and years. And that is the gravity of the system in which we live.